Hello, welcome to EJ's World of Words. My name is Esther and I'm an author. I would like to welcome you to my site and I would like to read to you the beginning of my new novel. It's called The Boy in the Wardrobe. It's not available yet, but I would like some feedback from you. So here it goes. La Union, El Salvador, late 1990s, west of town. For a small boy growing up in a country where the sun shines all day every day, where ripened fruit falls off the trees along the roadside, and where people tolerate children's noisy play, life is good. Jaime was 5, maybe 6 years old, and he had nothing better to do than enjoy himself. He got up early in the mornings as soon as his grandma told him to. He suffered her washing his face with a fresh but rough cotton towel, put on some clothes, then nicked some bread on his way out where he would meet his friends on the street. Together they chased dogs and cats around the neighborhood and ran after the local idiot who danced for them in the street once he was high enough on cheap alcohol that some farmer distilled in his shed. Hungry, they wound their way to the markets where they tried to beg or steal whatever they could. They were not nasty boys. They behaved just the way that small boys of poor families up and down the country were supposed to. His mother Elzbieta worked on the market whenever she could. She fetched for the stall holders, or sometimes sold the fruits and vegetables they grew in their small garden. Grandma tended this garden, looked after the chicken, and cleaned the house. There were no men in the house. Elzbieta had never been married, Jaime being the result of a night of drunkenness, mainly the man's. She had delivered sandwiches to the bars around the red light district and had caught his eyes. She was a real beauty, with dark, big eyes and a smile that would light any room. He had a wife, children, and a store in town. He was bored and tempted when she sold him one of the bread rolls she carried around. When he paid his 50 cents, his hand touched hers and she blushed. The rest, as they say, is history. They fulfilled his desire in a back alley, egged on by the noise of the horse in the rooms behind the wooden planking against which he pushed her, grunting, sweating, and stinking of the beer and spirits he had filled himself up with. Maybe he even had snorted some coke, Elzbieta did not know. He promised her love, but when her belly got round he no longer remembered. When the boy was born, he was the spitting image of his father, and the man felt ashamed. Whenever he saw the boy and was reminded of that night, he found it in him to send some money. Never enough for them to live on, but enough to quieten his sense of remorse. Over time, even that died. Grandfather had been gone a long time. One day he had gotten up and left. Nobody knew where he was or what had happened to him. Some rumors placed him in the States, illegally, working hard, and others told of his body rotting in some ditch. Grandma no longer cared. Jaime did not even remember. One morning, Jaime heard his grandma in the yard, and he rolled out of his hammock. In his underpants and barefooted, he ran to the well. "Grandma, Grandma, good morning, Grandma!" he yelled, but when she turned towards him, his laughter stopped. She put a finger to her lips, her face serious and her eyes a shade of sad that he had not seen before. "Nino, don't wake up your new daddy." Jaime froze in mid-stride. "New daddy? I have a new daddy?" "Yes, my darling. A new daddy, a real daddy?" Some of his friends had fathers living with their mothers, and he knew how much fun it could be. Daddies gave their boys coins for sweets. They took them hunting outside of town and taught them how to use knives to kill rabbits. "Where is he?" His eyes were as wide and round as small plates. He had wanted a daddy for as long as he could remember. Now his wish had finally come true. Grandma nodded towards his mother's room. "They're in there, and if you're quiet and a good boy, they will give you a little brother or sister to play with." There was a hint of something in her voice that he did not pick up on. Jaime was too excited. That morning he washed his face himself, scrubbing really hard to make sure that he was as clean as he could be. He put on a t-shirt that he pulled out of the clean clothes box, one that was blue and did not have too many holes. Then he grabbed a dried and crumbling sweet roll and parked his butt on a small chair outside his mother's door. He patiently waited. He knew that the noises he could hear winding their way to the outside were happy noises. His friends, the ones with fathers, had told him about the noises. One time they had listened to the sounds that came from Miguel's sister's room. They had listened to the words of love the man had screeched at her, the grunts and ramblings, and the excited banging of the headboard. Miguel told them that the man was working his sister, laying on top of her, with his sting inside her belly. That day they had decided that they would never do this to any girls, because their grunting was simply not manly. That morning, Aimer was not so sure what he should think about it all, given that the grunting came from his mother's room. He respected his mother. He could not think badly of his new daddy. When his mother finally emerged, she smiled at him. A weird smell wafted after her, but she handed him another sweet roll, patted his head, and assured him that things would improve from now on. His new daddy emerged a good hour later. He was short, even for a Salvadoran, with grey stubble over a pockmarked face. He burped as he stood in the yard in his underwear, scratching his balls. Jaime stared, but the man did not seem to mind. "Hey, boy, I'm hungry!" Jaime did not know how to answer. He stood, open-mouthed, gawping at this man who now was his new daddy. "Leave the boy alone, Sanchez," Grandma intervened. "What do you want?" "Ah!" He waved her away. A moment later he came out of the room, dressed in a stained shirt and short pants. Without a word he walked out the gate. He had not looked at Jaime or grandmother again. He had not spoken. And for now, this is the first installment of the new story, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you, and come and visit me again. Bye!